Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining me today for this practice to reduce stress and anxiety. You'll want to have a chair or something similar to support you. You may just use your blocks. That's totally fine as well. So if you don't have something similar, just get creative and see what's around you that's stable. As long as it doesn't have wheels on it, it should work fine. So when we come into poses to reduce stress and anxiety, it's really important that we support the head. We're going to start on our mat. If you have sensitive knees, you might open up a blanket and just come into table pose. Lengthen through your spine, maybe gently drawing your belly in. And if you'd like, you can come into a few cat-cows if that feels okay to you. Inhale, cow, and exhale, cat. Just sort of warming up the spine. Notice how this feels. Let's do one more. And then lengthen through your spine. Take an inhale here. And as you exhale, sit your hips back for child's pose. Now, if your head easily makes it to the mat, you could rest your head on the mat. But if it feels like you're dropping your head too far forward, you might want to use your hands, maybe stacking your hands in fists, or reach for a block. Find the position where your neck can be neutral and your head is supported. Breathe here. Slowly on your next inhale, lift your head. Bring yourself back up into tables. If you would like, you can use blocks under your hands. And then step one foot forward, tuck the back toes, step your other foot forward. Set blocks aside and bring your hands onto the chair in front of you. We're going to come into a nice shoulder stretch, a chair down dog. So walk your feet back a little bit. So your wrists are in front of your shoulders, hips over your ankles. Hands might come further forward as you lengthen through your spine. Draw your belly in. Keep your spine long, coming into a down dog variation here. You might bend the knees a little bit. Take your hips back. Keep your core active. Notice how this feels. And then slowly move your hands forward. Walk your feet towards the chair. Hands to your hips, and then look forward. Inhale, come back up. Come into a Tadasana and just notice how you feel. So we're going to come into a wide leg forward fold, Prasarita Padottanasana. Position the chair at the long side of the mat. If you don't have a chair, and if you're more flexible, you might be able to just use your blocks. You might want your blocks handy either way if you have them. Take a wide stance on your mat. Feet are parallel. Hands on your hips. Take an inhale. And then long spine, hinge from your hips coming forward, and bring your hands onto the chair. So this is the halfway point where you can do a little self-assessment and see how this feels. And then start to come down onto your forearms on the chair. Notice how that feels. And you want to keep your legs strong and active here. If you need to bend the knees, that's totally fine. So from here, we're going to maintain that long spine, but relax the head onto a prop. So you might bring a block. You might turn it long way so your arms can fit on the chair, and rest your head on the block. You might tip it slightly in your hand so it feels more comfortable. Some of you might be okay to turn the elbows out and hands on top of each other and rest your head on the back of your hands. Those of you that are a little more flexible may not need the chair. You might just use the blocks to rest your head on. That's totally fine. Don't strain and try to go further than your body wants to go today. So you also might have maybe a blanket on your chair, and you might have your hands on blocks or your mat and rest your head directly on the chair. I like to have a blanket on it. It's a little softer, but again, make sure your neck is long and neutral. You might close your eyes. Keep your legs active. Ground into your feet. Gently draw your belly in, lengthening through your spine. And again, make sure your hands and arms are helping to support you. So if you need to, you might even place blocks under your hands so you can have a little more support if your head is on the blanket on the chair. Make sure your head is on some support, either the chair, your hands, a block. But remember, it's not about how far you go, but who you are when you get there. And to calm the nervous system, we don't want to strain and push ourselves to go beyond what feels appropriate on any given day. You might have been able to go deeper, maybe last week or last year. It doesn't matter. Focus on what your body needs today and use the props to meet you where you are now. Begin to tune into your breath. Invite your exhale to be maybe twice as long as your inhale. If your inhale is 4 seconds, see if you can invite your exhale to be about 8 seconds. Nice, full, easy breaths. Again, make sure your neck is neutral, that it's comfortable, and your head is supported. On your next inhale, slowly lift your head. Bring your hands back onto the chair if they're not already. Pause here at the halfway point. You might feel a little lightheaded coming up, so take your time, pausing at the halfway point, and then heel toe your feet a little closer together, and then lower down onto one knee and then the other, and come to a seat. Pause for a moment, notice how you feel. And we're going to come into another pose using our chair. Extend one leg under the chair and bend your other leg. I have my left leg under the chair and right foot near my left knee. You might need a blanket to sit on, or if that knee complains, you might place a blanket or a block under the knee to support it if it's complaining. And then positioning your chair so it's over that straight leg. The front of the chair is just about over my knee. You can adjust as you need to. And then bring your hands and arms onto the chair. You might just have your arms straight, or you might bend them a little bit, whatever feels good. As you hinge forward, Notice where you are, and then see if you can rest your head on your hands on the chair. If you can't go forward very far, you might move the chair a little closer so the leg of the chair is right in front of that opposite leg. And again, you might use a block to rest your head on. Angling it at whatever height makes sense to you. Just make sure your head feels supportive. I like the high setting with my wrists on the chair and tipping the block at the high setting so that it's angled to support the head and neck. If you're able to go a little further, you might have the chair further out in front of you. And again, just barely resting your forehead on your hands at the edge of the chair. Spine is long rather than rounded. Breathe here. And we'll be here for a few more breaths. And then slowly bring yourself back up. Pause for a moment. And then we'll switch sides. Straighten your right leg out or whatever leg was bent. Bend the other knee. Again, maybe using a blanket under that knee if you need to. Or you might sit on the blanket, whatever works. Each side's a little different, so find what you need. Again, adjusting the chair so it's right over that straight leg. Sit up nice and tall. You can also just hold on to the chair and then hinging forward. You might have your hands there and then right on the chair for your forehead. But if you feel like you're dropping your head too far, use a prop, blanket, block, whatever you need, so the neck is long and the head feels supported. And then you can relax the shoulders a little bit. Remember to keep your spine long. Find your variation. This is a variation of Janu Shirsasana, head beyond the knee pose. We don't want to round the spine and try to get our head to the knee. Breathe here. You might keep that right leg a little bit active. Toes maybe up towards the shin. Lengthen your spine. And even though the arms and hands might be helping to support your head, see if you can soften a little bit into the shoulders and upper back. Slowly on your next inhale, come up out of that pose. Set your props aside. Thoughtfully adjust your chair if it's in your way. Come to any comfortable seat and just notice how you feel. Another nice pose to use with the chair is to place our feet and legs up on it. So you might put a blanket on the chair, especially if it's a metal chair like that. And then you might benefit from having another blanket under your hips. So if you would like, you can have, what I like to do is have the blanket to go under my hips at the side and then put it under my hips once I get there. So you can be close with your hips to the chair, and you can turn the chair whichever way makes sense to you. Come to where your knees are close to the edge of the chair. And if you have really long legs, you may not need a blanket. But if you have short legs like I do, you might bring your feet to the chair and push into your feet and place a blanket under your hips. And then your knee crease, if you have short legs like me, is a little more lined up. And then relax here. So hips are a little higher, if that works for you. Relax into a little mini shavasana. Tune into your breath. Elongate your exhale as you invite your body to soften and release. Relax your legs. Let your hips be heavy. Relax your low back. Soften your shoulders and upper back. Relax your arms and hands and fingers. Soften all the muscles in your face, especially around your eyes, and let go. Gently begin to deepen your breath. If your legs are still on the chair, be mindful. Maybe begin to wiggle fingers, toes, and then thoughtfully move one leg, then the other. Maybe roll over to one side. And when you're ready, slowly press your way back up to a comfortable seat and pause. Notice sensation. Notice how you feel. And with appreciation for your awareness and your focus, bring your hands together at your heart in Anjali Mudra. The light in me sees and honors the light in each of you. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. I hope you found this short practice valuable and relaxing. And I look forward to seeing you on the mat next time. Be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you, everyone.